and development. The first section for today is storytelling and wellness. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our speaker today. Jessie Jacob is an architect turned wellness and leadership coach. She graduated from College of Engineering Trivandrum in BArc. She changes lives through wellness, fitness, and general empowerment. Along with her team, she is committed to creating women leaders and helping them reach their full potential. Being a wellness enthusiast, her passion lies in trekking, fitness, and culinary pursuits. She is the founder of Fit the Soul. Fit the Soul has been focused on catapulting women into senior leadership positions using strategic leadership training. They uplift women across India by increasing their social capital and creating a community of women that help each other to grow stronger and independent every day. Let's warmly welcome Jessie Jacob to take over the section.
Good morning, folks. No good morning also. All sleepy today. Come on, let's have a nice, cheerful good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning. It's a nice good morning. We all woke up with breath in our body, with all our muscles moving, all our bones moving. Come on, let's say good morning, nice and loudly. Yeah. Okay, so just so I think Vaishnavi has told you something about me. So I used to be an architect. I graduated from CET Trivandrum and I worked as an architect for 18 years. And some of it will come in my presentation, so I won't bore you with that now. Matthew, shall we just start with the presentation?
Yes.
So, okay, now the presentation is on, right? So let me just get this right. Yeah, can you see this full screen?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yeah, okay. So folks, writing your own wellness story is a choice you make. All of us like to say our life is like this because of circumstance outside of us. This morning, thankfully, when I spoke to a few of you all of you all said, you chose to be a faculty. You love to be a faculty. And it's a choice you've made. Lovely. I'm so happy. The other words one or two of you used was sharing knowledge, imparting knowledge. Nice. But what I love was Debomita. She said, I like to see the face of students when they get answered. So that is what makes us happy and very happy. No, knowledge is like full circle.
Ma'am, I think there is some network issue. We are not audible, right?
Yeah, so the voice is disturbing. It's not clear, madam. Maybe.
Is
Now
there a
it is
disturbance
okay,
coming?
ma'am.
Now it is.
Yeah. Okay. Is it still full screen?
No.
It's not full screen.
Yeah. But I think this is better because then, I hear the others, I can't see any of you all at all. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, previously the voice was very clear. Now the voice is little less,
Okay.
but it is without noise.
Okay.
So,
All right. Okay. So let me know if you have a trouble with one of you all just come in and tell me if there is some sound. So writing your own wellness story is a choice you make. Why do we need wellness? We need wellness because that is what makes us who we are. Even if your students want their eyes to light up, if they're not well, they come looking gloomy, looking tired, so then it's very hard for their eyes to light up. So whether you're a student, whether you're a faculty, wellness is a choice you make. Yeah, you get that? And wellness is something that you need to make sure that you are completely in control with. Okay, so I'm just going to see if this is okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is, why did I choose to become a wellness coach? You can see that was my cake baking. I bake cakes for Christmas. I don't sell cakes, I make it for myself. So this is a very elaborate process. So this was just my happy self making the cake. Now, wellness, even my gray hair, if you see, it's a choice of my wellness. I used to have these nice black, thick black hair. If you look at this was my hair just before COVID struck. I used to dye my hair and I thought it was really great. But when the 3 months of COVID came and I decided not to dye my hair, that is a choice of wellness I've taken. It's a choice I've made to accept my gray hairs and enjoy it. People tell me when I go to Kerala, they'll all tell me, oh, Ammachi, Ammachi. Ammachi means grandmother, okay, in Malayalam. They say, oh, Ammachi, Ammachi. I said, you can call me any Ammachi you want, but I love my gray hair and I'm not going to color it. Whatever you guys say, I will not color it because it is for me liberation. It is freedom from going to the parlor every 3 weeks and trying to make myself look younger. Why do I need to look younger? I am 56 years old and I'm proud to be 56 years old. So all of this comes back from being well inside. So who was I? I was an architect practicing in Bangalore, and we were featured in India Today as one of the 4 corporate czarinas who changed the face of Bangalore. Okay, so here we have Meena Ganesh, we have Vinita Bali, who was CEO of Britannia, we have Priya Chetty, and that's me in my heydays. So I was one of the top architects in Bangalore. And ITPL, most of you all know ITPL, first 6 buildings, 25% was done by us. Okay, then what happened? I started enjoying other things. These are some of my passions. I love climbing mountains. So I was doing Everest Base Camp. Okay, this was right on top of Kilimanjaro. This is Mount Kinabalu. And this is my favorite picture. It is climbing Kilimanjaro. It is called the Kissing Rock. We have a 1-foot ledge there and I have to walk so close. I have to kiss the rock and walk, otherwise I'll fall. So this is called the Kissing Rock. Some amazing moments in my life. And while I was climbing Everest Base Camp, I knew I didn't want to be an architect anymore. What else do I do? I've done hot air ballooning, paragliding, skydiving. This was Dubai, skydiving. I went with a friend, my college friend from CET. She lived in Dubai and both of us went skydiving. Wow, what an awesome moment. This was doing a run. I was part of a marathon running group. This was us in Norway. My friend and I, we were celebrating our 50th birthday and we were driving a snowmobile on top of the frozen Barents Sea. I've never even driven a scooter in India. And here I was driving a snowmobile in the frozen Barents Sea. And what do I do now? I work with women and we create women leaders. And the biggest problem women face is wellness. Most of us are multitasking. Most of us are working 2 jobs. And what are the 2 jobs? We work in the office and we work at home. We have round-the-clock work. And wellness becomes our biggest casualty. So when I work with women, I have to work with, I like to work with wellness, work on wellness for women. And what is wellness? Wellness is your mind and body and soul being in harmony with each other. It is waking up in the morning and saying, good morning. Not saying, good morning, miss. Good morning, ma'am. No, good morning. Good morning shows how well you are. If wellness means you don't care if you're 56 years old, you don't care if you have gray hair, you love the fact that you're awake, you're alive, and you are there for each other. And that is wellness. So as a faculty, it is so critical for you to take care of your wellness because you cannot come into the class and be grumpy, grouchy, and impart knowledge. Imparting knowledge is not stuffing beetroot down a child's throat. Imparting knowledge is sharing, is communicating. Hello.
Yeah, Jessie, madam. Sorry to interrupt. So, yeah, so the same, the audio issue
Okay.
is repeated once again. So, GB sir, is the
Yeah.
problem there? Yeah, now
I
it is
don't
clear.
think the
Yes, sir.
problem is
Yes, sir.
here because it just comes in. I mean, I've not faced that problem till today. Now, are we good on this?
Yeah, now it is fine. Yeah, in between, yeah. So maybe you can put the slide in the full screen mode.
Okay, I will.
That
I will
would-
full screen. Okay, so guys, so just tell me when you haven't heard something, when it's not clear. Just chip in and tell me because I won't know otherwise. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So
Yes, ma'am.
writing your wellness story. So
Ma'am, again. Madam, the problem is repeating.
Jibin, Matthew.
Yeah. Now it's clear, ma'am.
But there is some background noise. Can you mute everybody? Yeah, now it's clear.
Yeah.
Just mute everybody so that maybe just you and Matthew and a couple of you all can keep your mics open, but otherwise just mute everybody. Otherwise, I think it's coming from somewhere else, is what I think. Okay, so Matthew and Jibin, tell me when you
Excuse me, ma'am. Just now I muted all, so your mic also get muted. No, you can unmute, ma'am.
You can take the Google Meet, and so we have muted everyone, including you.
is that fine now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I will now. Okay, so Jibin and Matthew, when you were kids, when you went to school, did you get into trouble for no fault of yours on some day? Sometimes when you just went to school, you didn't do anything wrong and you got pulled up by your teacher? Yes or no? No?
I don't remember.
Any incident like that?
Yeah.
Okay, but just remember this. Okay, so now let me ask you, Jibin and Matthew, as a teacher, as a faculty, aren't there days when you've not slept at all, your kid was not well, your parents were unwell, you had something going wrong, there was some leak in your house in the night, some problem, and you just were very, very tired when you walked into college? Were there days like that?
Yes, certainly yes.
Yes, there are definitely days like that. So on that day, remember, you are tired, you've not slept, and you are not up in your wellness quotient. So what happens when somebody does something small, you get irritated? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, you get irritated. It's natural.
Yeah.
I mean, even with our kids, we get irritated sometimes. Even
Okay.
at home also. So the problem is that, so that is an odd incident when your child kept you awake the whole night and you've not slept, and you had some exam papers to correct the day before, and you've come to college. You're so tired. Your head is so heavy. You are ready to bite off anybody who comes in front of you. But remember, if that becomes the norm, and you're trying to impart knowledge, you aren't going to be a successful knowledge imparter. You need to remember that you have to keep your wellness always intact. If you keep your wellness quotient high, for example, we talk about our IQ, our EQ, our knowledge quotient. You all keep reading about what's happening in the electrical world, in the electronics world. Why? Because you want to keep your knowledge quotient high. Like that, you must constantly work on keeping your wellness quotient high. So, how do you do that? So, let's talk about writing your wellness story. When you write your wellness story, remember that you are the author. Can Jibin or Matthew tell me 5 things in a story? If you're an author, if you're writing a story, forget wellness, any story. What are the 5-6 things that you need to have in a story?
Yeah, so we need to introduce the characters.
Okay, so we need to have characters. Okay. So we need to have characters and then we introduce them. Yes, first we have to have characters. Okay, second, next, another one.
Then the setup. So the basic introduction of the setting of the story. So
So before that, you need to have a plot, a story.
Okay.
When you're writing a story, you need to have a story in your mind.
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to have a plot. We need to have characters. Then we need to have a start and an end.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we need to have start and an end for any story. Now, all you electrical engineers, tell me one more thing. What will a story have? Another story.
Maybe one of the
participants. It'll have sine and cos. It'll have ups and downs. Okay. Any story, if it's just flat, there is no story. You have to have ups and downs. So sine theta, cos theta, it will go like that. You know, it will go up and down, right? So when there is a story, there are 5 things we said. It has characters. It has a plot. It has a start and an end. Okay. It has ups and downs. And it has some bright shining stars. The bright shining stars can be a really sad incident or a really happy incident. It will be something. Okay. So these are the 5 parts of any story. Remember, your wellness story is also the same. Okay. So we have to have 5 parts to any story. So let me ask you this question. Who are the 3? I'm sorry, Matthew and Jibin, I'm going to use you as examples because you're the only ones who are unmuted. So tell me, who are the 3 people or 5 people you're most closely associated with? Leave out your wife and your mother and your children and all that. Those are the family. Besides your family, tell me 3 people or 5 people you're most closely associated with. And don't just take your school friends and your college friends. Take somebody else.
Friends only, ma'am.
Friends only. Friends only. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So here's a story. You are the average of the 3 people or 5 people most closely associated. So when I was an architect, I used to have lots of Fortune 50 companies. Okay. I mean, top companies were my clients. So, and lots of foreigners used to come to set up their India offices those days. So I used to be good friends with the CEOs, the people who came to set it up and all that. So even after the project was over, I used to still go there and have coffee with them. There were 3 clients in particular that I used to keep going and meeting simply because they always helped me get new ideas. So even if I was trying to do something different, I used to go and say, hey, Satya, can I come and meet you? So let's go sit with Satya. And he was running Textron. Textron, they make the Bell helicopters and all that. So he was heading Textron. But he would always give me time and I would sit and bounce my ideas off him. Okay. Then there was another gentleman called Horatio Ignato, and an American gentleman. I used to go and sit with him. And then there was another guy called Sanjay. Sanjay is still in Bangalore. He's the only person still in Bangalore. And I used to go and sit and bounce off ideas of these people, just like that. It's only much later when I became a coach that I realized that I was the average of the three people that I was talking to the most. And these three people were all IIT, Ivy League, that kind of people. IIT, IIM, Ivy League, those kind of, that is what they were. And so I said, oh my God, I didn't realize I was better than myself, because my average, if I take those three guys and then I put myself there, I was just a B-arc, and these guys were super, super qualified, and they were MDs of these super big companies. And, so for me, it was like a big experience, and I was making a jump in my intellectual ability. Okay, so you must remember, whatever you do, you must always make friends with 3 to 5 people who are not just your chuddy buddy friends. Okay, we all have our chuddy buddy friends, but you also need to have people where you can bounce off ideas, you can have conversation with. You need to, because that way you also stay ahead of your game. So all of us have these friends who will, especially women, Mita Debopama will agree with me. I'm sorry, I forgot your full name. You will agree that we have friends who will call us and offload their problems on us. Guess what? Today my boss did this. I have a friend like that working in a corporate here. I know everybody in her company, though I've never been to her company. She will call me and said, my boss this, my earlier boss that, my other colleague this, my other my assistant this. I know all their names. I know what they do. I know everything. But I've never been to her company. I don't know a soul in their company except her, because she will just call me and offload. Her whole idea is call me and say, what happened, my boss? She'll just vomit the whole thing onto me. One day I asked her, I said, you call me up and you tell me all this. Have you ever called me and asked me how I am? Have you ever called me and asked me how my children are? Have you ever called me and asked me if I am sad, if I am down? All you do is call me and vomit your problems. And you know that somehow, normally I cannot even give you help, but you are just trying to offload your problems onto me and fill my hard disk with your problems. Every one of us have friends like this. At some point, we need to tell her. So I told her, I said, you never asked. She said, what do you mean? Of course I ask. I said, when did you ever find out what my kids do? When was the last time you found out if my son has come back to India or not? When did you last find out if my son has got his visa or if he's struggling for work? Have you ever checked out all this? Oh, really? I thought your kids are doing well. I said, that's a great story. For you to think that my kids are doing well and everything is fine and your life is not fine, so you can vomit your problems onto me. So we need to tell them. Today when she calls, she'll always ask me how my son is, how my daughter is. She'll make an effort to connect with my daughter, whatever. So she now knows much more of my life than before. But I had to hit her on the head with a 10-pound hammer to make her understand that she had to ask. So we need to sometimes set our boundaries. We cannot let others offload their vomit onto you. Vomit is a dirty thing. It's a horrible thing. It smells horrible. It looks horrible. So we don't want vomit. So we need to make sure. So we have friends who will call, cousins who will call, and aunties will call and tell you this. But one is you can tell them, listen, I only have 5 minutes. Tell me what you want in 5 minutes because I'm getting into a meeting or I'm going out or I'm doing something. Because you need to limit those people. So when you pick your characters, remember you want characters who will uplift you, who will move you forward, and who will actually be good for you. So you must remember you are the author of your wellness story. So what can you do? You can do many, many things. You can decide who your characters are. You can decide what your story is. At 40, I told my daughter, at 50, I won't be an architect. She said, Mama, at 80, you'll be an architect. I said, no, Mola, I will not be an architect. She said, Mama, at 80, you'll be running around crazy like you do. I said, I may be running around crazy like I do, but I will not be an architect. And 2 months before I turned 50, I closed my practice. At 40, I didn't know what I was going to do at 50. At 40, I didn't know what I would do. But you can dream, you can imagine what you want to do. What can you do? So let's say you want to go on a global trip. And you can decide now, 10 years from now, I want to visit Antarctica. You can decide that. You imprint that idea in your head and start working on it. Okay, it is up to you to make that happen. So what do? You have to script your own wellness story. I want to be well. I want to run a marathon. I want to climb a mountain. I want to be off my diabetes tablets. I have been a diabetic from the age of 40. My whole family is diabetic. From my cousins, all of them, we are all diabetics from the age of 40. So my brother will call and say, how is the sugar factory doing? This is how he even greets each other. We all greet each other. Okay, that's how diabetic we are. But it's a call I took. Today I have very, very little tablet. I have barely half a tablet if possible. Because otherwise I was taking 5 tablets a day. That's how diabetic I was. It's a call you take. It is how you script your wellness story. You have to decide and you have to make it happen. When you want to go get into engineering college, each one of you brilliant engineers here, what did you write? What did you do? You decide to script your own future. You decide to work towards it. So like that, you script your own wellness story today. So that every choice you make from this moment is a part of your journey to wellness. So here's in the last 6 months, I was working on my diabetes and my diet and all that. And I decided to go off SAM. SAM is sugar, atta, maida. So I used to have a little glucose monitor stuck on my arm for 2 weeks. So that glucose monitor tells me every 15 minutes what my sugar level is. So it's got a monitor and I can see it. So I realized that any food you eat, in 1 hour, your sugar will show up. So your glucose monitor will show it up. So I realized the biggest culprit for my sugar was atta and maida and of course sugar. So I have now made a conscious choice to stay off sugar, atta, maida. So my daughter says, oh, Mama has divorced her boyfriend, Sam. I said, yes, I have divorced my boyfriend, Sam, sugar, atta, maida. Okay, so you have, and that's a choice I have made. So from this moment, every choice I make is a part of my journey to wellness. So every choice I make, I go to restaurants, I can have rice. I cannot have atta maida. I will not eat anything, but I will not have atta maida. So it's a choice you make. I mean, that's a very drastic choice, but each thing that you do is a choice you make. For example, we all know we need to work out. Oh, it's a rainy day. I don't feel like working out. Oh, I'm too tired. I don't feel like going outside for a walk. Then if it's a rainy day, put on your television, pick up a free workout, do it. Whatever you do, it's a choice you're making. Because when you're well, you impart that joy to your students. Remember that. We will always impart that joy to the students. So what do you believe in? Do you believe that you are here to impart knowledge? Do you believe that you are here to share knowledge? Do you believe that you are here to exchange knowledge? So these are 3 different things. One is impart knowledge is, I am Hitler. I will tell you to get up at 5 in the morning. Yes, that is imparting. Do you share? Share means I have 1 big cupcake or 1 big pizza. I will give you 2 slices. Yeah, that is sharing. But do you sort of exchange knowledge? So then you're saying the students also have knowledge. They can come and chat with you and you will exchange knowledge. So you have to get your wellness in place. You have to write your wellness story. You have to author it. When you say, I'm going to author my wellness story, you will say, I will sleep early. I will eat right. I will go to class feeling happy. I will look cheerful. So here's something. I have been learning French for the last 1 year. As a part of my trying to get my brain cells to work again, I have tried to learn 6 new skills, and one of them is French. And you know what my daughter says? My mama's biggest knowledge in French is politeness. Okay, so in
Ma'am, your audio is breaking. Hello, ma'am. The problem is still there, ma'am.
So I will just call up and say, good morning, Rajesh. Can I have 1 kg of potato, 1 kg of tomato, and whatever it is? But today I will say, good morning, Rajesh. How are you? Did you have a good day? And then I will ask. So how does it cost us to greet a student? To not just say good morning, students, how are you? No. You go into the class, say, hey, Tulsi, is your mother better? Hey, Mukund, you went on a holiday. Are your grandparents doing well? So start believing in your students. Start believing in your wellness and their wellness, and start working on it. So what do you believe in first? No. What is it that you like about him? What is it you want to be? What is it you can be? So do that. So same way in your wellness, who would you like to be in your wellness? Can you, would you like to be this cheerful Charlie who walks into class and makes the whole class feel better? Or are you going there just to impart knowledge? Are you going to push beetroot down their throats? Or are you going to share knowledge? That means give a part of your pizza. Or are you going to exchange knowledge? How lovely. Exchanging knowledge is a discussion. So how about going to class tomorrow and saying, hey guys, today we are doing, transformers. I don't know any topics in electrical engineering, but okay, let's do AI in electronics. Today we are going to do AI. Let's have a discussion on AI. Tell us what you know about AI.
Ma'am, audio is not clear.
Different branches come. Then we had a program. So one topic we gave was AI, a boon or a bane. I think somebody's mic's still on. Am I muted or can you hear me?
No, we can hear you, but in between we
The
have
noise
some breaking of
yeah.
voice.
Yeah. Okay. So we had this discussions on AI, a boon or a bane. And you know what somebody from Applied Electronics told me? Ma'am, I don't know anything about this topic, so I'm not willing to talk about it. I said, my child, Akila, you will never get topics that you know everything about in your life. You need to be able to say something about it. Well, the girl who spoke the maximum was from civil. I said, how do you know so much about AI? So she says, ma'am, I read a lot of science fiction books. So I was just using my knowledge in science fiction to apply to AI. How beautiful. She just was so bold about talking about it. So, are you going to be Akila, where you'll say, I've not learned, so I'm not going to speak? Or are you going to be that other girl from civil, where you'll say, oh, I will speak? So,
Ma'am, voice is breaking.
if you want to make this so I always give an example of my brother. I've got a brother in Bahrain. Okay, so let's say he called me up sometime back and he told me something I was really upset about. I was upset with what he said. But the thing is that I can start by saying when I was 5 years old, he stole my chocolate. When I was 8 years old, he pulled my hair. When I was 12 years old, he removed my crochet and whatever I had done. When I was 15 years old, he put ink on my. Some of these I'm making up, okay? But I can keep on thinking of all the negatives he did. By the time I've reached 55, I want to kill him. Okay. Or I can say, my God, Josh is so nice. He calls me every week. He actually does call me every week. And, when I was going through this hard time, he used to just call me and be so good about it. I can keep thinking of all the good things. By the time I reach 55, I'm still upset with what he said, but I'm not upset with him. Okay. So what I've done is I kept adding good legs about him, that I'm still not happy with what he said, but I still love him dearly. So you must remember, whatever you do, when you've had a bad thought coming, your wellness is being affected. Break a bad leg, add a good leg. Always break a bad leg, add a good. On the leg. And that time the elephant could never ever pull this chain, pull this away, because the baby elephant was not that strong, and all his life he was tied to this. So as he grew bigger in his mind, this can never be broken. So as he became a giant, he still does not think he can break this. That is because of our limiting beliefs. We have to break our limiting beliefs and make them empowering beliefs. As a child, we were told we are not that smart. Oh, you don't speak that well. You're not a good singer. You will never make a runner or a sports person. You were told all these things. So you believed it. You were told you're not as pretty as your sister. You were told your hair, look at your hair, it's so frizzy. Nobody in our family has hair like this. So you were told these things. So what happens? Those become limiting beliefs in your head, and they keep playing as narratives in your head. You must remember that these beliefs are what stop you from doing. You must break these beliefs and bring them back. So I was always here. Glass bottom cable cars. We saw those glass bottles and all of us freaked. Nothing doing. We are not paying. We'll go in the cheaper ones, but we will not go. We're all scared of heights. And somehow we went to Sentosa Island and came in all our fears. But I had to break those limiting beliefs of height for me to be able to run, to trek, to climb mountains, to go parasailing, paragliding. So what did I do? First, I went on a hot air balloon. That was the easiest. Then I went parasailing with a friend, again from CET, a friend. So parasailing is in a boat. It's much easier. Then we went paragliding. Then I went skydiving with a friend. So each time you have to break a limiting belief in your head. You have to give it a new narrative. You have to work on your wellness. So remember, your current and your future stories are yours to write. Nobody else writes your stories. You write your stories. What are your stories for your future generation? You are the author, not the victim of your symptoms. All of us like to say we are the victim of our symptoms. No, you are the author. You decide what the storyline is. You decide who the characters are. You decide what the ups and downs are. You decide what the star events are. You decide what the start and the end are. Remember, a diamond is just a piece of charcoal that handles stress exceptionally well. So are you that piece of charcoal? And are you going to become a diamond? Don't say, oh, I'm already 55. What is a diamond? Of course, we can become diamonds till we are 75, till we are 80. We can keep on becoming diamonds. So don't imagine your life is almost over. Your life is just beginning. Mine is. I don't know about you guys. Yeah. Stop presenting. Yeah. Hello. How?
Yeah. So in between, actually, there was some audio issues, but after a while, it get cleared automatically.
Yes.
Yeah. So now it is fine.
Okay.
So we haven't heard what you said last towards the end. Maybe,
Last bit was, you are the author of your stories, not the victim of your circumstance.
Okay.
And more importantly, do not let anybody tell you you cannot write your own story. And you are just a piece of charcoal that handles stress exceptionally well. And that becomes a diamond. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
guys, folks, ladies, tell me, did you enjoy the session?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it is very good.
Yes, ma'am, is very good. Joy, let me see your wellness. Let me see your wellness, guys.
It was great
You're
session, ma'am.
muted, Devamita.
It was great.
So what was
to
your
hear.
takeaway? Yeah, what was your takeaway, Devamita?
Takeaway was the spark which I could see again in your eyes. While you were delivering the spark, that should be there in, as a teacher, I feel that should be there in everybody's eyes. So that spark, actually attracts people, whoever is listening.
Correct. And it's about not imparting knowledge. It's about exchanging knowledge. See, that should be your takeaway. Each of you all start thinking, how can I exchange knowledge? And for that, my wellness needs to be intact. I must come to class feeling the joy of the world in my face. Yes, Matthew. Come on, let's see a smile, all you guys. So any questions, ladies and gentlemen? No questions today. Hello?
నీకు బుర్ర ఉందో లేదో
Any questions? No questions. Okay. So shall we start with the next session? Yeah. Okay. Jagdish Chandra Pandey, can you have a question? Please ask.
Hello,
Yes.
hello, ma'am. Actually, you have said that when we have to write our own story, but
Yes.
sometimes circumstances come that we are under the stress. At that time we just forget our story. Means what is past and what is present. At that time, our mind is in the delusion, and what that at that time we do make the mistakes. At how we can means avoid that critical time.
Okay.
That
So,
yeah.
so in a story, it's a very good question. In a story, we did talk about sine theta and cos theta. Okay. So we
Yes.
have ups and downs in our story. So
Yes.
when you talked about it, that's a trough of your life that you're going through the down. But remember,
Yes.
when you're going down, you always will go up.
Yes.
So it's okay. Every story has its ups and downs. It has the sine theta and the cos theta. So you not to worry. Sine curve, cos curve, all of that is there. Don't worry about it because this too shall pass.
Yes.
But don't use that as an excuse for being grumpy all the time. So you can be a little sad, little bit. And you can share it with your students also. Today was a bad day, kids. I didn't sleep at all. So bear with me if I am a little grumpy today. Bear with me if I'm a little short tempered today. If once you explain that, even the students understand it. If you just come in there and then get upset, they think, oh my God, why is this Jagdish Chandra professor today very angry? But if you share with them and you show your vulnerability, they are much more likely to understand why you're going through this.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your advice. Thank you. I will implement it.
Sure, please do that and let me know how
Okay.
it went. So,
Okay.
folks, any other question? We've still got 8-9 minutes more for the next session to start. So, if you have a question, if you just want to discuss something, share something, feel free.
Ma'am, initially you told about intelligence quotient, IQ and EQ, intelligence quotient and emotional quotient.
Yes.
And I also read about SQ, spiritual quotient. What is
Yes,
the
very good.
importance of spiritual
Very good.
quotient?
Spiritual quotient also, see, I am very spiritual. So for me, it gives me a lot of peace. When like Jagdish talked about how things are going wrong in your life, that's when your spiritual quotient takes over. That's when you get the peace. What we say in is peace that passeth understanding. Peace that passeth understanding is a peace that we don't get naturally. It's a peace that comes through reading the Bible or reading whatever spiritual book that you are used to reading. It gives you a peace, it gives you a calmness, and you're able to handle that day. So, spiritual quotient is very, very important, and it's part of wellness. Wellness is about the mind, body, and soul. Okay. And so the emotional quotient and the intellectual quotient all get strengthened when your spiritual quotient is high. Makes
Thank you,
sense?
ma'am.
Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? How many women do we have here? Just 2 or 3, I think. Any other questions, folks? You can write it in your chat message. You can ask. Any questions, folks? Matthew, shall we start the next session then?
Yeah, that is fine. That is fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let me go back and present now. Okay, folks, we're going to now start on the next one, storytelling, which is very, very important for all your faculty. Okay. So let me go.
Okay, so I think Jessie madam has left meeting maybe because of some accidental issue. So she will rejoin quickly, I think. Hello, madam.
I think I got disconnected. So,
Okay, no issue.
all right. Okay. So I will present my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see. We can see the screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So storytelling. How many of you all think you are how many of you all think you're a good storyteller? Matthew, what do you think? Are you a good storyteller?
Yes, I think.
You think so? Debomita, do you think you're a good storyteller?
Partially, ma'am.
Okay. What about Jibin? Vaishnavi?
I don't think so, ma'am. I am not a good storyteller.
Okay. Vaishnavi?
Yes, ma'am, I'm a good storyteller.
You're a good storyteller. Okay. So, as a lecturer or a professor, storytelling is critical. Okay. Absolutely critical part of what you need to do. So, my story, when life serves you lemons, you make lemonade. Whatever you are, wherever you are, try and bring out the best part of you. So I did talk about my life as an architect. Some of it is just, So when the act did not follow the script, I decided to take a hike, a really long hike. This is my doing Everest Base Camp. You can see the mountains behind, and we have to walk on this path. And this was a picture taken while we were on our trek. Literally a long, long hike. So this is some of those pictures I shared with you earlier. And okay, what is storytelling? When you talk about storytelling, I have a story to tell you. Okay. There were two little girls. One was named Namita and the other was named Chamita. Chamita was a naughty little girl. She never woke up on time. She never drank her milk. She never got ready on time. She was always late to school. Her mother had to force her to comb her hair and get ready. She never got time to color before she went to school. And she was always putting on her shoes while she was in the car being dropped to school. This was Chamita. Okay, Chamita was this girl. Namita was this lovely little girl who woke up early in the morning, drank her milk, got ready, combed her hair, got into her uniform, and she always got time to color. She would do a little coloring before she went to school. So we have these two girls, Namita and Chamita. Chamita never got ready on time, and Namita always got ready on time. And Namita always got time to color. Where is the story going? This was a story we told our daughter when she was a baby. Even today she says, Mama, I was always a Chamita. But in my mind, I was always dreaming to be a Namita. She's neither Namita or Chamita. This is two made-up names. Her name is Nayantara. So, but thing is that she said, I always wanted to be a Namita. I always wanted to color before I went to school. Not that I ever colored or anything, but I would imagine if I was Namita, I would get a little time to color. So in her dream, in her childhood, she was always waiting to be the Namita. So the few days she got ready on time, she was very excited to be Namita. Now, even today, she tells us a story of Chamita and Namita. Why is this story so memorable? Because she always imagined that she was Chamita and she wanted to be Namita. This is the effect of storytelling. We have told a million stories to our kids. Why is it that this story jumps out of her memory? Always. Even now, when we talk about anything, we say,
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Excuse me, ma'am. I think you have some network issue, madam. Your voice is breaking.
So, do you have a headset with you?
Sorry?
Some microphone headset? Do you have a
But I've
headset with
never ever
microphone?
had this problem. But
so maybe you can try.
Have you muted everybody else?
No, yeah, everybody else was muted, so that was not the case.
Okay, we'll try once more. Shall we?
Okay, so now it is clear. So what happening is in between, maybe for 1 minute, it is having this.
That's when I stopped talking at that time. I don't talk at that time.
After that, it gets. Now it is perfect. There is no issue in this.
Sorry about this. Yeah. Okay, so this is the art of storytelling. Years ago,
Your voice is breaking, ma'am. Frostbite. When he came back, he had to cut off both his legs from below his knee. He became a double amputee at 25, but he never ever gave up. He kept trying to climb the Everest. And at 69, on these prosthetics, he managed to summit Everest. What an amazing, amazing, amazing man. So this is a story I talk about when I do these Dare to Dream sessions. I do lots of sessions for young girl students. So when we do it, people may forget the name Zia Boyu, but they'll always remember this man who climbed Everest on 2 prosthetics. Look at his legs. Look at him. At 69, he climbed Everest. So always trying to make a point with the story. So I always say you can dare to dream. If he at 25 with 2 artificial legs dared to dream, what stops you from dreaming? What stops you from daring to dream? So the 3 C's of communication. What we need to understand is that whether it is a web session, whether it is a classroom session, whether it is with your children, whether it is your chuddy buddies, whoever you are talking to, the 3 C's of communication is: first, captivate the audience, convey content, and create a lasting impression. When we say we want to impart knowledge, we think we are conveying content. But when we are conveying content, are we stuffing it down or are we sharing content?
When we captivate the audience, when we have a little filler, when we have something to set the class going, we get the audience attention. When we captivate the audience, they're more likely to listen to us. And then when we convey content, are we stuffing it down like beetroot down their throats? Or are we sharing it like the Chamita and Amita story? And creating a lasting impression. This session of storytelling I did a few months back for my CETA alumni, CET, College of Engineering Trivandrum alumni. And there was one professor from TKM who saw me there. Obviously, I created a lasting impression in him. And Professor Imtiaz then got in touch with Matthew, and that is how I am sitting here in front of you guys. And that session, people from across the world have reached out to me, and I'm doing multiple sessions for Doha, for Trivandrum, for so many different towns, different cities. I'm doing different sessions because obviously there was, I was able to captivate the audience, convey content, and create a lasting impression. Just remember, every time you're going to the class, think in your mind, am I going to use the 3 C's of communication? If you don't do that, you are not conveying content. Yesterday itself, I came in between to see 1 or 2 of your sessions. You were just going on, somebody was telling something on the screen. Hey, are you getting the attention of the audience? I don't know, because I didn't understand the topic itself. So it was, for me, I just saw stars. So the whole point is, can we make it interesting? Can we captivate the audience? Can they see the joy in your eyes? And can you see their joy in their eyes? And when you convey content, does it light up their eyes? And when they step out, are they going to discuss this? Is it going to create a lasting impression in them? Are they going to want to come back for more? Just remember that. The irresistible allure of stories. From our childhood days, always we wanted stories. When we want to eat, we wanted stories. When we want to have a bath, we wanted stories. We always wanted stories. So that same allure of stories still holds true, because every student of yours is still a child at heart. Every student is still a child trying to listen to his grandmother. So your voice, your story. Remember, you should always have a story that's your story. Share your story. Share how when I was doing my Everest base camp, for example, I struggled. I had high altitude pulmonary edema. I couldn't breathe. I almost didn't reach Everest base camp. But I have a story. I have many stories about it. And it's my story. And my stories are not about my success alone. My stories are about the times I've fallen, I have slipped, I have stumbled. But I have picked myself up and I've continued to go on. So the story always should be your story, your voice. Don't keep referring to somebody else's story, because then it doesn't become your story. And don't imagine all your stories, your voice needs to be about your success, how well you've done, what a fantastic person you're. No, it needs to be about how you stumbled, how you failed, how you didn't make it through something, and you still picked yourself and moved on. Connect to the audience. So when Matthew called me and said, listen, can you talk to the professors? I said, listen, professors, what do they need? I thought through it a lot. And then I said, yes, you all need wellness and you all need storytelling. Even if you're good at storytelling, you can get better at it. So connecting to the audience, you need to connect to the audience, understand what is it that makes them tick. If you are talking to a teenager, remember, their lives are very different from ours. Their lives are very different from your parents' life. There's no point coming back with a 1947 story for them. Come back with something that they can connect to. Vulnerability. When you're vulnerable, you show you are a human being. You have also failed. Then they connect with you. Also, when somebody comes to you, they don't want your sympathy, they want your empathy. Empathy is saying, I am there with you. Not that, oh, I feel sorry for you. Many of us have an attitude of feeling sorry and sympathy. No, they want empathy. And more important, they want to see your vulnerability. And make the story real. Make it about you. Make it about the times that you have been like them. That's why I asked, when you have gone to school or college, weren't there times when a teacher picked on you? Of course, there were times when a teacher picked on me. In engineering college, there were many times the teachers picked on me for no reason. I was almost a class topper. I mean, I was not quite class topper, but almost there. But the thing is that there were times when they just picked on me because they didn't like the way I dressed. They didn't like the way I said things. They didn't like many things. So they just picked on me. So make the story real. When you talk about this, your students also realize, my God, I'm also facing the same thing. I am also in the same boat. Right level of detail. Oh, was it 1984? No, actually it was 1983 January. No, it was 1983 August. They don't care. It's 1983 or 1984, January or July or August, it doesn't matter. Don't bore the audience with too much of detail. Give them enough detail. Give them enough interest. Give them enough excitement. Okay, now, if you're a funny person, give a funny story. If you're not funny, do not give a funny story. In my family, my husband and my kids are really funny. Excuse me. My husband is really funny and my kids have both got it from them. So they keep saying, Mama, you're not funny at all. So if I'm not funny, don't make it funny. You can make it moving, revealing. My stories are mostly moving. And it's about vulnerability. It's about real stories. So I stick to those. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you're comfortable. You don't have to think you have to give a quote. You have to give a funny quote to start the story. No, you don't. You have to be yourself. It has to be your story, real story, your voice. And you have to connect to the audience. And you have to show your vulnerability. You have to show you are just another human being. The most important thing is your passion needs to come out. You need to show that there is a passion that is like a fire in your belly, and that is what will come out. If you're passionate about teaching, that passion should come out. If you're passionate about communicating, that passion should come out. You should show them that you love it. And it should come from your eyes, your body language, your face, your lighting up of your face, all of that. And that is the most critical thing. If your stories lack passion, they fall flat. It is like that dessert which is not sweet enough. It is like that pickle which does not have enough tamarind or enough chili in it. It's like that. So you need to have passion. So it's like a real crunch, real wow. That story was wow. What does a story need? So it's your voice, your story. Like I told you in wellness, it needs a story, a plot, real characters. So it's not about, somewhere in America there was a man. No. Somewhere in Koranjeri, in my grandmother's house, there was this. So it needs a story, a plot, real characters. A start, a middle, and an end. It needs a clear direction forward. So sometimes what happens, we start a story, we go back, we go forward, we go back, but it must have a clear direction. Are you going from Bangalore to Madras, Chennai? Then if you're going to Chennai, you can't go on the Hyderabad route. You have to go on the Chennai route. So clear direction forward. Whatever story you tell has to have a clear direction forward. It has to have its highs and lows. It can be funny, moving, or revealing. It has to be one of them. It can be all three if you're all three. Otherwise, it can be one of them. And passion and vulnerability. So a story needs every one of these things. Steve Martin. How many of y'all, do any of you like Steve Martin? If any of you like Steve Martin, can you just open your mic and tell me, yes, I love Steve Martin? Anybody here? Nobody has seen Steve Martin? Movies, shows. He's a really funny guy. Okay. And he was not funny. As a kid, he wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And he went to Walt Disney, and he would stand there and give one of Matthew, are you all there?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Just trying to understand. Yeah. Okay. So he used to stand up and practice every night. Every night he used to do a stand-up comedy. There were many nights that there was not a single customer to watch him do this. And there were some nights when there were 2 people, 5 people. Today, you have to pay millions to get Steve Martin for one night. So what did he do? He just kept practicing. So if you are not a good storyteller, it's okay. Just keep practicing. So so every single day, what I do is when I do this session for the college students and for corporates and all that, I tell them, tell a story and record it and send it to me. So that's your first story. And 6 months later, and every day you record something, one story, one little incident, and keep watching how you become better at it. You only get better at it when you practice. If you believe you know how to teach, already you've lost it. You have to be a continuous learner. You have to be continuously learning. Only then can you teach. So like I was asking some professor, do you change your notes? You have to change your notes every semester. You have to change something. You have to change your stories. You have to change your moments. You have to change the way you deliver it. Only then you become real. You become alive. Otherwise, you are just a dictaphone machine, just delivering something. So what do you believe in? Who are you and who would you like to be? What kind of a story are you going to create? Create your stories. This is a picture of us doing a trek in Ladakh, what we call a winter trek. This was in minus 30 degrees Celsius, this trek. So we are walking on this road. And if you see this little pug marks here, those are the snow leopard's pug marks. We never saw the snow leopard, but we saw the pug marks every day. The only prints on the snow would be our footprints and the snow leopard's pug marks, nothing else. Look at this. So we started trekking at minus 20 degrees Celsius. We reached camp, it was minus 25 degrees, and we slept at minus 30 degrees. So a friend of mine from Chicago called me and said, what do you do for heating? I said, heating? What is heating? We don't know what heating. We were staying in tents. So we just had to have multiple layers. It was so blistering cold, but it was so awesome. Look at the scenery. None of you will ever get to see the scenery except in postcards. We walked on this path. We saw this. How beautiful is this? So many people who watched my storytelling session called me and said, Jesse, my God, that picture that you had of that minus 30 degrees Celsius trek. And we had another Malayali couple with us on this trek. And the night she came into me, she said, Jesse, do you think my toes will fall off? I was dying to laugh because I don't know whether my toes were going to fall off the next day. How will I know whether her toes are going to fall off? I had no clue because it was so cold. We've never trekked in that cold weather. But today it is one of our wildest, happiest memories of trekking in minus 30 degrees Celsius. So this is one of my stories. I have plenty of stories. Also, create your stories. Live a life with stories. Don't say, oh, I go to work, I come back home, stay with my family, and I go back to work. You will become a boring faculty. You have to have a life outside of this. You have to have a life of upskilling. Another thing I tell everybody, I learn 6 new skills every year. From this year onwards, I've started. I'm trying to learn 6 new. You can learn at least 3 new skills. What are the new skills you're going to learn next year? When you start learning new skills, one is you also understand how the students feel when you're struggling to learn something. You also start getting your brain cells working again. And you also become real amongst the students. So remember that. Always try and upskill yourself. Work on something new. Create new stories. Like when I was doing my French, like I told you all, through French, I learned how to say please and thank you, not just please and thank you. Good morning, how are you? So now when I start a WhatsApp message, I always say good morning, how are you? Did you sleep well? Normally, I never ever ask. I'm so business-like. I'll say, hi, Matthew, when are we doing the session? Now I make an effort to say, good morning, Matthew. How have you been? How are the sessions going? I make an effort to make conversation because I learned through learning French that it's nice to have conversation, not just go and make a point. So now even for you teachers, when you go to a class, take the first 3 minutes off to make conversation and listen to your students, not just polite conversation for the sake of conversation. Listen to them. What are they saying? Hear it and use it in your class. Some of those things, and then they say, wow, this professor heard what we said. Yeah. So that is the session, folks. We are done. And let me know if you have any questions. We are a little early. I had kept some time for our question answers for the last session. Since you didn't have any questions, we've started on the next one. So let me know. How was the session?
Yeah, Professor Imtiaz has written something in chat box. Maybe you can check.
Yeah, chat box. Let me see. Wow, awesome. See, so Professor Imtiaz, he listened to my storytelling session. And today in his class, he told a story that happened 30 years ago. So lovely. When he is telling the students a session story that happened 30 years ago, he was the student's age. Students can connect with it. And students can say, wow, this professor also did some silly things, or he did something. Imtiaz, would you like to tell us the story, what you said? Hi, Imtiaz.
Yes, I'll tell the story. I wanted to motivate students in their problem-solving skills. Okay, so the story, it was a real story. I didn't reveal names. I remembered you because I know about your session. So the story is as follows. I hope participants won't get bored. Okay, let me go ahead with my story.
Okay.
So I said I had a friend from Rani. He was very intelligent. And we used to solve maths problems. The problem with this, my friend, is he used to have this B.S. Grawal textbook. And just before the examination, he'll read this textbook. And definitely he failed. And what happened was, after 4 years, all of us passed. And we remembered him. We used to write him letters. That time, mobile phones were not there.
Yes.
And after 1 year, some 6-7 guys, they all passed. My friend from Rani was still there. And he had to go for examinations. He was a bully also. He used to bully his juniors. So you know our labs. So he used to go for this exam and with the juniors. So the funniest and sad part was he came to TKM to write the exam. So to cut it short, the message was, if you read problems and the solutions, you will forget. You won't be able to. You have to work out, solve problem. Otherwise, you'll be like my friend from. That was a message which I wanted to convey. I don't know whether I had succeeded or not. But they are very happy to listen to my story. Okay.
Yeah. So Imtiaz, for 2 reasons. One is you are telling them that your friend did this and didn't get through, and so it's also saying that we also did mandatarams in our time. We also did stupid things in our time. And some of us got through, some of us didn't get through. And students also connect that you have actually made a point. You have tried to connect with them. So the 3 C's, you captivated the audience. You conveyed content. You told them that just reading a problem is not enough. And you hopefully created a lasting impression in their minds. The 3 C's are so well communicated with a story. So anybody else, any other question, ladies and gentlemen? Ashik, you have a question? Samaya, Mata, Muhammad. No questions. So, folks, we do this for colleges, for professors, for teachers. We do series of sessions. We do Dare to Dream, Live to Lead. We do goal setting. We do mentoring. We do storytelling. We do it as a four-part session. So we actually teach you the actual way of storytelling. We give you examples. We do workshops, breakout rooms, and then we come back and we discuss it. So all of that we do. So if you're interested, happy to connect with you all if you want. And I'm sure Matthew will have my contact details.
Okay. So any more questions or? So just interacting with Jessie madam will give that energy. Fine. So with that, we'll stop the session. Anyone would like to interact?
Any questions, ladies and gentlemen?
I have a
Yeah.
request, ma'am. As you rightly
Yes.
said that Matthew sir will be having your contact details. So I would love to have it, because in near future, if I do conduct such kind of FDP, I would love to introduce you to many people. So
Sure. I'm just going to put my number right away in the chat.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah, so for those of you who want, the number is there. Feel free to connect with me. And Devamita would look forward to chatting with you. Anybody else, any questions?
Okay, so I think this is one of the issue with online way of learning things. We cannot see the expression of the participants and fine. Okay, so we'll stop this session. So for further details, you can directly always contact Jessie madam.
One point, Matthew,
Yes. Yes,
Matthew, one
yes.
point. Can you give us some tip for how we can interact with students? Like as Dr. Matthew pointed out, it is very tough to get the response, to get expressions, and very like people don't switch on the video also. How do you have any kind of some fixes or some directions in which we can move so that we'll get some kind of feedback from the students when we teach online?
Okay, so Imtiaz, I did talk about it in the wellness session, so I will just come back to that. What I said was, so before we started, I asked a few professors here, why do you like teaching? So some of them said impart knowledge, some said share knowledge, and Devamita said to see the light in their eyes when they get a concept right. So light in their eyes when they get a concept right, when they don't switch on the video, is a bit hard. So I said, here was the thing. There are three ways. One is impart knowledge. When you say imparting knowledge is when I stuff beetroot down a child's throat. You have to eat it, it's good for you. Okay. I mean, I think the worst vegetable in our childhood was beetroot. As adults, some of us like beetroot, but when we were kids, it was like really bad. I mean, even bitter gourd I like, but beetroot was something I don't know why. I mean, most of us hated beetroot. So we were forced, even when I was in boarding school, we were forced to eat beetroot. So impart knowledge is stuffing beetroot down your throat. Share knowledge. Share knowledge is you have one full pizza, I can offer you one small slice of my pizza. That is share knowledge. The last one is exchange knowledge. So exchange knowledge, Imtiaz, for a start, like what I did today. So when I started the session, I asked 3-4 people, I said, this is the few people who joined first. What do you like about the subject? What is it that you like? Why do you like teaching? Why are you a professor? All of these. So you first start by engaging the students and asking them what was one exciting thing that happened last week in their lives. Like in my French class, when we land up after a weekend, in French, we have to talk about what we did the weekend before. It's very hard to speak in French and say it, but it's a good fun thing when we all talk about. So asking your students to first 3-4 minutes, to have them say something. And once they share what happened in their lives, something, you use some of that, weave that into your story in the class. Then there are two things. One is that first you're asking them their opinion before you start pushing the beetroot down. So you are telling them that they are important, their voice matters, you care about them. Okay, three things. Second is that when you start using those examples in your stories, they also say, hey, he listens to me. He hears me. And the third one is, even let's say you're talking about, give me a topic that you all do. Give me any topic. I don't know your topics. Give me one topic. Name any topic.
Design engineering. Design engineering.
Okay, design engineering. So let's say we're going to talk about design engineering today. So guys, what comes to your mind when you hear the word design engineering? Okay, your intro class, 101 class. So they'll say, oh, it is this thing, it is that thing. So yeah, it's all correct. And then let's say Matthew says design engineering is about engineering products to make it better for the world. Samaya Mata says that, it is about using AI and all of that. And Jesse says something. So when you're teaching, when you're doing the session, say, oh, as Samaya said, it is using AI to do this. But, actually we use AI a little differently. You bring in what he said and then take it. So then Samaya says, hey, listen, my professor listened to me. Professor heard me. And then Matthew says, oh, it's about getting products to be designed better. He said, yeah. So earlier fans were just fans. Now we have remote control fans. We have this. So these are all different things that we can do. So then you are integrating and you are exchanging knowledge. Okay. So when you're exchanging knowledge, you are saying you are important too. And I am learning from you as I impart to you. So stuffing down information is the wrong thing, first thing. So it has to be integrative exchange of information. Second is one thing that I found in my time, and today also I heard the same comment, you cannot use the same notes semester after semester. If they just need notes, they can get it on the internet. So when there was this gentleman, Sam Rufus, who taught us how to make PPTs. He says, Jesse, you never, ever repeat a PPT. Even if it's the same PPT, next time you do it, you change one small page. You change one small thing. You change one small story in it. Today, I added the Chamita and Amita story. It was not there in my early one. So every time you do something, you change one small thing. So it becomes real, it becomes alive, it becomes fresh. It's like sambar or rasam that you make in your house. You serve the same thing 2 days in a row. The children say, oh my God, same old sambar, she's recycling. But in that sambar, you add a new fresh vegetable, you add a new tadka, you make it into bisi bele bath, something. You make it new. Then it becomes a new dish. Okay, so just like that, remember that your classes need to be fresh, not recycled all the time. Make sense?
Yes, thank you. Great. I'm happy that I asked you this question. I'm sure that it will benefit many people hearing to you. And this will get a ripple effect also. People will be sharing these things with others also.
I hope so. I hope so, because the whole idea is not for me to keep it close in my heart. It's about sharing. It's about ripple effect. It's about spreading the word around and making more and more better and better faculty. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so thank you, madam, for the two sessions. So it will definitely help us to teach better in the coming days, and the students can see the spark in our eyes, hopefully. So thank you on behalf of the department and on behalf of all present here. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Jessie Jacob madam for sparing time with us. So thank you very much. So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So for the next session, we will have at 11:15, and so you can all join back at 11:15. So it will be by ISC Sarasit Das. So we will start the next session at 11:15. So thank you very much for joining for the first session. So hope it is beneficial for all who are joined. So the session 1 feedback link is provided. So please fill the feedback link. So thank you very much.